Hello, Sahar, and welcome to today's English lesson. So, I see you chose making small talk as your topic. Now, I've released your microphone over to you. Please go ahead, introduce yourself, and then tell me a little bit about yourself, Sahar. Thank you very much, Sahar. So, it's lovely meeting you. How was your day? I'm glad to hear that. It's always good having a nice day. So, as I said, you chose the topic making small talk. And before we start the lessons, Howard, would you prefer speaking over Skype? This means you can leave your microphone on and it won't cause any problems. Okay, Sahar, so do you have Skype? Okay, no, that's fine, Sahar. So we'll continue on this. And luckily your audio is perfect, so I don't think we're going to have any problems. Now, let's start with this lesson. Now, on our first slide, Marcus and Sandra have just met and are making small talk. Group the questions beneath the correct heading. So, now a good topic for small talk and a bad topic for small talk. And then those are all the different pieces you can use as small talk. And I want you to tell me if you think these are good topics or bad topics. So, how much do you earn? Then, are you religious? Do you want to go for a drink sometime? Beautiful day today, isn't it? Are you divorced? Where do you come from? What do you do? Do you have any children? So, Sahar, please go through all of those and then tell me which ones you think are good topics for small talk and which are bad topics for small talk. So well done, Sahar. That was excellent. And now, yeah, you said you don't know what religious is. Now, when you ask someone, are you religious? It means, do you have a belief system? Are you a Christian, a Muslim? Do you believe in Buddhism? So it's asking about their religion. So do you think this is good or bad, Sahar? Okay, so well done. That's absolutely perfect. So let's see. How much do you earn? Are you religious? Do you want to go for a drink sometime? And are you divorced? Are bad topics for small talk? And then good topics are, do you have any children? What do you do? Where do you come from? And beautiful day today, isn't it? So well done, Sar. I think you did an excellent job. Now, I take it there won't be any questions, and when you have questions, sure you'll let me know. So let's move on to the next slide. So this is our listening slide, and it says, nice chatting to you. So now we are going to listen to Kate and Lee and choose the correct description. So let's quickly listen to our first audio clip for today, and then after that we're going to answer some questions.
Beautiful day, isn't it?
Yes, it's very warm for September. Where do you live?
Just down the block, near the hospital. Are you local?
No, I'm just visiting. I'm here on holiday for a week. Can you recommend any local sites?
Yes, of course. You definitely have to visit the beach. And the museum is interesting too. Have you been here before?
Not for years. I lived here for a few years when I was a child because my father used to work here. What do you do?
I'm a doctor at the hospital. Are you here with your family or by yourself?
With my wife and children. I have 2 sons and a daughter. How about you? Do you have any children?
No, I'm getting married next year. Anyway, nice chatting to you.
You too.
Okay, so that was now the audio clip and now the following three sentences. So they are old friends who haven't seen each other for a long time. They've just met and are making polite conversation, or they are colleagues meeting for a drink after work. So which of those descriptions do you think would best describe the conversation we listened to, Sahar? Well done. Perfect, Sahar. So that's indeed. Now we're going to have to listen to this audio clip again, and then I want you to tell me which of these topics do they discuss. So the weather, location, religion, death, jobs, general family situation, illnesses, money, or body weight. So let's listen to this one more time, and then I want you to tell me which of the topics they discussed.
Beautiful day, isn't it?
Yes, it's very warm for September. Where do you live?
Just down the block, near the hospital. Are you local?
No, I'm just visiting. I'm here on holiday for a week. Can you recommend any local sites?
Yes, of course. You definitely have to visit the beach. And the museum is interesting too. Have you been here before?
Not for years. I lived here for a few years when I was a child because my father used to work here. What do you do?
I'm a doctor at the hospital. Are you here with your family or by yourself?
With my wife and children. I have 2 sons and a daughter. How about you? Do you have any children?
No, I'm getting married next year. Anyway, nice chatting to you.
You too.
Okay, so that was the second time we listened to our audio clip. Now, which of the topics do you think they were discussing? Well then, Sahar, I definitely agree with you on all of those. So let's see what our slide says. So it's the weather, location, jobs, and general family situation. Well then, absolutely perfect. Now, before we continue, so have you ever had those type of conversations with people? Okay, I'll repeat quickly, sir. So, I want you to tell me if you usually have those type of conversations. Do you usually meet people and then talk to them and find out about where they are from and talk about the weather? Okay, so I'm glad to hear you also have those conversations. No, I think you're doing a brilliant job so far. I haven't heard any mistakes really. So now's your opportunity to tell me what other topics you would talk about when making small talk. So tell me what other situations or topics you would talk about with these new people making polite conversation. Okay, that's fine, so so we will move on, and if we find some other ones you want to add or I want to add in a bit, then I will add them at that point, and then we'll talk a little bit about them. So for now, we will move on. So the suggestions for other topics to talk about are sports and hobbies, current affairs, movies, books and music, and then hometowns. So, what movies do you enjoy, Sahara? Thank you very much, Sahar. So I have to say that I don't watch many movies either. That I do read some books and listen to music quite often. Now, do you have any questions at this point, Sahar? It's my pleasure. Thank you. So you're quite a brilliant student. And I have to say that you are really impressing me today. So let's move on and see how the rest of our lesson goes. So the next slide is key vocabulary. So asking small talk questions. So I want you to unscramble these questions that Kate and Lee used. The They are family, you yourself, or you're here or by with. And the next one is children have you any do. So you can try and unscramble those. I'll give you a few moments, and as soon as you're ready, Sahar, you can tell me what you think those were. Well done, Sahar. It's absolutely perfect. One small mistake. You said by your family. Now, this would be with your family. You used by a little bit earlier. So that's the only mistake. And well done. The rest was still absolutely perfect. So it's are you here with your family or by yourself? And do you have any children? Now, I want you to think about some more questions you could ask about somebody's general family situation, Sahar. As soon as you're ready. Well done. Perfect, both of those. So those are more appropriate questions that you could ask. Uh, some of the others are, do you have any brothers or sisters, as you mentioned? How old are your children? What does your wife do? Are you married? Do your family, does your family live nearby? And do you have a big family? This, just for interest sake, do you have a big family? So how many brothers and sisters do you have? Okay, you're right, you've got quite a big family. And then you've got a twin brother. Okay, so now I'm quite intrigued by big families. I've only got one sister, and my mom was the only daughter, so I don't even have many cousins. I've got a very small family, but luckily my distant family still act like close family members. So some of my second cousins would act like my cousins or my sister or brother as well in situations. But no, that's the only way I know what bigger families are like. But I'm pretty sure that it's a bit different as well, though. Now, Sahar, imagine that you and your teacher, that would be me, have just met. So we're going to make some small talk, as we've just been doing, about families using some of the above questions. So, Sahar, you can ask me some questions about my general family situation. No, Sahar, I am not married. Yes, my family live about 10 kilometers away from my house, and at the moment they're probably 4 kilometers away. But my mom and sister went on holiday, so they're very far away at the moment. I've got no brothers and one sister, but I did grow up with one of my close friends. Been Our parents met before giving birth to us, and when turned about 3 months old, my parents left me with his grandmother. So I see him as my brother, as we've been friends for our whole life. It's quite a long time, so I think he's probably my closest family member, in my opinion. So, well then, Sahar, thank you for your questions. I think you asked them brilliantly as well. So let's move on to the next slide. So this is some more key language, and then brainstorm as many small talk questions as you can for each topic. So brainstorming is coming up with ideas, and now the topics are the weather, sports and hobbies, jobs, location, and hometown. And then movies, books, TV, and music. So, Sahar, you can go ahead and then tell me about as many or as many questions as you'd like about each of those topics. Well done, Sahar. Thank you very much. I'm extremely impressed with your pronunciation as well. There's one small error that you make. There's nothing big. That's still part of your accent. And if you want, you can work on it, but it doesn't matter that much. So, thank you very much, Sahar. To say this is quite a good lesson for me. Uh, Very difficult as well, as I can't really find mistakes. You are extremely good at English. No, sorry, you really don't have a bad accent. To tell you this, that today you are the student with the best accent that I've heard, and the one mistake that I spoke about is rolling your R's. So that is the only mistake. It just means you put a little bit too much emphasis on R, but that will go away as you continue practicing. It's my pleasure, Sahar. So now another key language slide. Third one for this lesson. So we are going to listen to Kate and Lee again and say which of the conversations you think are better. So we've got another audio clip, and then afterwards I want you to tell me which of the two you think are better.
Full day, isn't it?
Yes, it's very warm for September. Where do you live?
Just down the block, near the hospital. Are you local?
No, I'm just visiting. I'm here on holiday for a week. Can you recommend any local sites?
Yes, of course. You definitely have to visit the beach. And the museum is interesting too. Have you been here before?
Not for years. I lived here for a few years when I was a child because my father used to work here. What do you do?
I'm a doctor at the hospital. Are you here with your family or by yourself?
With my wife and children. I have 2 sons and a daughter. How about you? Do you have any children?
No, I'm getting married next year. Anyway, nice chatting to you.
You too.
So that was the first one, the one we already listened to. And now I'm going to play the second one, the one we are comparing it to.
Beautiful day, isn't it?
Yes.
Are you local?
No, I'm just visiting.
Right. Have you been here before?
Not for years.
Okay. Are you here with your family or by yourself?
With my family.
Okay, so that was the second one, Sahar. Now, which of the two conversations do you think was the best? Thank you, Sahar. So I have to definitely agree with you that the first one is a better way. Now, when we listened to the second one, we heard that the lady was struggling to have a conversation with this person because he gave very short answers. So, what I think we should look at is that in the first one we listened to, those were better conversations. It's because the people spoke more. So I want you to remember this in your lessons, and then share as much as you possibly can with your teachers, fellow classmates, and have some fun when you talk to them. These are conversational classes, and I think that they should be fun, as well as learning a bit more about English. And I think the best part of them is that you get time to exercise what you've learned. Okay, so now I have explained to you how Lee answered Kate's questions in both situations, but I'll quickly read through them again for us, and then then you can tell me if you pick up anything else, or if you are unsure of my explanations. So, beautiful day, isn't it? Yes, it's very warm for September. Where do you live? Just on the block, near the hospital. Are you local? No. I'm just visiting. I'm here on holiday for a week. Can you recommend any local sites? Yes, of course. You definitely have to visit the beach, and the museum is interesting too. Have you been here before? No, for so, not for years. I lived here for a few years when I was a child because my father used to work here. What do you do? I'm a doctor at the hospital. Are you here with your family or by yourself? With my wife and children. I have two sons and a daughter. How about you? Do you have any children? No, I'm getting married next. Sorry, I'm getting married next year anyway. Nice chatting to you. You too. So that was the first conversation. So sorry, when I scrolled, it accidentally jumped and I could not see where I was. Sahar, you may go ahead. Okay, thank you for asking. So I'm quickly going to load as another pod. So I'll make this a whiteboard. Now, they build cities, they usually do this in blocks. So, for example, there will be a city block over there and another one over here, and so on. So those are city blocks, and on each of them there will be buildings, and now the parts in between, those will be roads. So now this is a city block, and each a city block is basically the distance and the amount of buildings between roads. So do you understand this, Sahar? It's my pleasure, Sahar. Thank you very much for asking. I really appreciated it. Okay, so now we've gone through the first one, and now I'll quickly go through our second conversation. So, beautiful day, isn't it? Yes, it's very warm for September. Where do you live? I'm sorry about that. That's okay. I'm so sorry about this. They accidentally put the same two right underneath each other. Now, I did go through the examples, and I'll play the second audio clip for us one more time, and then you can listen to the differences I explained slightly earlier.
Beautiful day, isn't it?
Yes.
Are you local?
No, I'm just visiting.
Right. Have you been here before?
Not for years.
Okay. Are you here with your family or by yourself?
With my family.
Okay, so that was the second one. And as you heard, they really struggled having a conversation compared to in the first one, where the guy gave better answers. So, thank you, Zahara. Now, those are the two conversations. So, now we are going to say in conversation one, he, and then in conversation two, he. So, we need to read the two conversations again and compare how Lee answers Kate's questions in each conversation, which we've just done. And let's look at this. So, in conversation one, he answers it, adds an interesting detail, and asks Kate a question about the topic. And in conversation two, he only answers it. So now, I want you to make some small talk with me, Sahar, and we're going to talk about the weather. Now, the things that makes small talk a good way to have small talk is on the left. So I want you to make sure that you keep those in mind and keep those tips in mind to answer it, add something interesting, and then ask me a question about the topic as well. So Sahar, you can go ahead and start asking me some questions about the weather. Yes, Sahar, so you're going to start talking to me about the weather, and then we will see where our conversation goes from there. It was a beautiful day here in Port Elizabeth. I really enjoyed the hot weather. How was the weather in York City today? I'm glad to hear that you also had. Well, winters here aren't they're not that cold. They are about 20 degrees Celsius, so it's really not that cold. It's warmer than some other countries' summers. And how about winter where you live, Sahar? Oh, that's extremely cold. How did you get through that? Did you get a lot of new warm clothes, Sahar? I have to say, one of the best things about that cold weather is that it gives you an excuse to go shopping for new clothing. Do you do any sports? Okay, so jogging with your mom and dad. I have to say, I'm way too lazy to exercise like that. I can't even get myself to do push-ups or sit-ups. So, luckily, every now and then I feel extremely bad, and then I gym very hard for 3 months and make sure I'm in the best shape I can be, and then I get lazy again. And after a while, I get very grumpy with myself. So, well done, Saad. I really enjoyed our little small talk, and I think you do keep a conversation extremely well. So let's move on to our task, and I think we'll have just enough time to finish this. So we are going to play the small talk game. So you will see a topic appear on screen and keep the conversation going as long as possible. So Sahar, are you ready? I'm sure it will be for you. So let's get going. The examples, horrible day, isn't it? Yes, very cold for this time of year. Do you think it's going to rain? So the topic is general family situation, Sahar. Okay, so let's talk about location and hometowns. So where were you born? Okay, so that's quite interesting. I was born in Port Elizabeth and I've been staying here my whole life. Do you ever want to go and visit some other countries and see some new sights? I also really enjoy travel. I've unfortunately not been lucky enough to go anywhere yet, but I am planning on taking a bit of a world tour. So I'm going to go spend some time in China, then I want to spend some time in Italy. Also want to spend time in Brazil, and after that, I want to spend some time in Saudi Arabia as well. I almost moved there about a year ago as an occupational health and safety officer, and then I realized I'd miss my family too much. So for now, I'm still stuck in PE, but one day I might be able to go all around the world. Well then, Sahar. So I think you did a very good job. And sorry, I skipped through some of those as we had a lot of conversations about them already. And I think you said all the questions I could possibly ask about that, and I did the same with those earlier as well. So luckily this gives us a little bit of time for the summary slide. Before we move to our summary slide, Todd, if you want to ask me some questions, there's no need to be shy, Sahar. You really did a brilliant job. Okay, so you don't have anybody to speak English to. And now, one of the first things I want you to try and do is when you lie in bed after a long day and you think back about your day, try and do this in English. The sooner you start thinking in English, the sooner your speaking will improve, as it's very important for you to make that change if you want to improve on your fluency. But you've got really good sentence construction, and you made one or two small grammar errors, but those will go away with practice as well. So the first way is to think about your day in English, and then the second one is when you go to your group lessons, try to speak as much as possible. Remember, the other students are usually also a bit shy, and they'd love to talk to each other and have some companionship while they study. So make friends with the fellow students and have conversations with them. This is one of the best ways to practice. And I know at the lower levels it's slightly harder, but you'll see as you move up, there are students that after classes spend hours on Skype talking about what they learned and sharing some information that they were taught in class. Well, if all your teachers tell you that, then it must be true. So, uh, I've got a few upper intermediate students the other day that they ended up going over and having a conversation on Skype. I found one of them in my class again the next day, and they said that they eventually had to go to bed and they continued speaking for about 2 hours. So, if you find somebody interesting and you'd like to talk to them, just have a conversation with them. So, thank you for your question, Sahar. Now, unfortunately, we've run out of time, and it's a real pity. I enjoyed the time I spent with you in this lesson. I think we had some very good conversations. So, I hope that I'll see you again soon, and that you enjoyed your time here with me. So, take care, Sahar, and enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye. Thank you very much, Sahar, and it was a pleasure having you. Thank you. Bye.